Hello everyone, welcome back. So I have been asked a couple times to talk about this now, so here we are, Daily Divine Dialogue. Now I will preface this, I am not the one who came up with this idea. This is not an original idea, but the video that talked about it does not exist anymore, so I can't link you to the video that talked about it, where I learned about it. So I'll try and cover this topic the best I can. So Daily Divine Dialogue is exactly how it sounds. This is something to be done every single day. Try not to skip it. Divine, whatever divine looks like to you. You can address it as universe, great spirit, goddess, god, specific deities that you work with, whatever. The divine of whatever. It could be to your higher self, universe in general, whatever. And then dialogue. This is not specific ritual. This is not incantations. This is not drawing down the goddess. This is not trying to intone the deities, whatever. It's not very fancy. You're talking to them. So basically, Daily Divine Dialogue is talking to whatever guide you have every single day. And this is not formal. This is very informal talking. Some people feel like you shouldn't do that, that to talk informally and just kind of casually to the divine is an insult to them, that it is it's just something you don't do. You need to go with reverence and respect and this kind of groveling attitude. Personally, I found that never has worked in my practice. I was not raised religious, so it never has ever hit into my brain that like I need to grovel to something. Ever. In fact, I've found if I talk to them just like we are talking now, I get a lot more done. And that's not to say I don't have a point in my practice where having specific wording is used. It totally is, but mostly in spell work or if I'm doing some kind of a ritual of sorts where it's a very specific task I'm doing, then I feel like having a script of some sorts and talking a little more formal is acceptable. But for the most part, when I'm doing my Daily Divine Dialogue, it's very casual. So for instance, this is a few different ways that I've done Daily Divine Dialogue. So for example, in my last witchy routine video, I talked about how I would go to the altar every single day and have a little bit of Daily Divine Dialogue. What that would look like in the past was that before I would go to work, I would go sit down at the altar and I would call upon them in my usual fashion. It's kind of formal, but kind of not, to basically just get their attention. And then I will talk to them just like this. So, for example, I would call upon Thor, and once, invited him into my space, then it would be like, hey Thor, so just so you know, like this is where we're at, it is this day, and this is what's on my mind, I'm not loving things at my job, I'm feeling like this thing is going on, and I don't want to be walking on cracked eggshells at a job anymore, and I don't really know what to do, but I am here, I'm showing up, I'm trying to do the things that we've talked about. And so at that point, like typically for like that specific instance, I would talk about where I'm at currently. So like, okay, so in that scenario, Thor, I've able to read through this chapter of Inner Temple of Witchcraft, and I'm going to do this exercise today. And my feelings about it, like, I'm kind of nervous about it, or I find it kind of weird, like, whatever, or like, I'm realizing, like, I need to move the CD player because it's not close. I need it near the altar. And just whatever. And talking about, I'm feeling insecure, or that I'm anxious about whatever, and just kind of chatting. That's how I've done it many a times. And a different example is more currently, is that because I'm changing up the routine quite a bit. I've got a video coming about that soon now that I'm self-employed. I have a lot more free time, so I can mix it up however I so desire. So now my Daily Divine Dialogue is typically, if I want to, I could do it at the altar, or another way that I've done for years and will probably resume is I will make an offering of some sorts. One of my favorite offerings to do if I'm going to make an offering is to make a cup of coffee specifically to give to the gods. Some people find that kind of weird. I like it. I feel like it's a great offering because in the mornings, like, I don't see why they would not love a cup of coffee. So I will pour them a drink, have it in a mug, go outside, and have the cup just sitting there, call upon whomever. So let's say for this one I'm going to call on Odin and be like, blah, 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 Odin comes, all of that good stuff. Kind of like you're picking up a phone and you're trying to ring whomever. And so, again, I do that a little more formally. And then once, I've called upon them, whatever, then I will sit down and talk about whatever. So like for Odin, like right now I could sit down with a cup of coffee and be like, hey Odin, so just so you know, like I'm kind of nervous about where this book is going. I'm feeling a little insecure about it, and I'm not sure that the series is the way I always envisioned it, but I also know that like it's not probably ever going to be where I want it to be, but I'm kind of struggling with that right now. And I'm really excited about future projects. I know that you've given your blessing on at least one of them, and so I'm working towards that actually manifesting, but I need to finish these projects first, explain why, and then if I have anything else further to say, say it, and then, you know, say my hail and farewells as you normally would, the formal goodbyes. I've found that the gods have zero problem listening to human problems because that's what they are here to be intrigued by. Most of the deities are just like mildly interested in what humans do, and if you build that relationship every day, they're gonna care. In one of the recent books that I read from Penzak, he covered this really well. I talked about this on Patreon, that the gods have zero problem talking to other gods to get your problem solved. And to just keep working with your main one, because gods don't have problems going like, I'm not good in this area, but like you're mine, so I'll go get somebody who can to help us with this. I feel like that's like such a great idea and it's totally applicable. And so for me, using daily divine dialogue is just one way of building that relationship over time. Like I know that like Thor has been like super annoyed with how many excuses I've given, and like you can feel when he's like, he's not going to answer that call. He's not going to just drop in because you called on him. And yet as you start to do the things and he's like, all right, we could see how this goes. Maybe you're a little more ready. And so like, I don't know, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Probably sounds like some serious woo-woo. It works for me. So again, daily divine dialogue doesn't really have to be that complicated. I hope this gives you some ideas. And if it doesn't make sense, let me know and I can try and clarify. But yeah, if you do this, I would love to hear how it goes for you. Do you do the same thing? Do you do it differently? Let me know. Of course, I do post every single day, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I do have a Patreon that I post on pretty regularly as well, so make sure to check that out. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and bless be.